Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Impact's Boulder Breakdown. So this week we're going to be looking at one of the finals boulders from the men's final that happened at the Quiff in Sheffield this weekend. For those of you that don't know, the Quiff is one of the biggest events of the year in the UK. It's the Climbing Works International Festival, held up at the Climbing Works in Sheffield, which is like basically the original bouldering wall, or one of the original bouldering walls in the UK. And it's part owned by Percy Bishton and who's the Olympic chief setter, and a load of other kind of famous faces from the Sheffield scene. So always a really cool event, always a really good turnout. Let's get into it and have a closer look at this boulder. Okay, so we're going to play the boulder through. We've got a few different people that we're going to look at. First of all, here is Max, the future Milne, who was the champ, did every boulder through the whole event, I think, only person to do that. Super impressive performance. Max is still really young, so he's a name to watch for sure. So this is Max flashing the last block for the win. Gonna focus. It's a real two-part boulder. There's this cool kind of like 1-2 dyno, which was like move of the year sort of thing last year, the sort of move you're seeing everywhere. I had a few goes at setting it. I've seen a few different variations. Here we've got Magos on a slightly less successful attempt. He did also do it, so sorry Magos for not including the go you did it. And here as well is Hamish going for a cheat method, so it's really interesting to look at that as well. So let's take a closer look at Max's go, successful attempt on the boulder, and kind of break down what he's doing and what the route setters are doing to make this move happen. Really cool move where you jump over to one hold, two-handed, and you can't control the swing and you're forced to move away. It's kind of a variation of like a paddle dyno that we've looked at a little bit before, but where you have to change direction in the middle, which is like a really nice way of changing it up a little bit. So as you see, jumps over, comes back over with the right hand. So quite a lot of competitors were going left hand to that black hold, the zone hold. It's probably half and half, left hand and right hand. Right hand looked a bit more comfortable actually. So let's go back and just look at this kind of step by step. So first of all, we've got the start position. We've got Max with his left hand quite high on one of these Watar. The range is called the Candice range from Watar. They're totally flat-sided. Keep that in mind, we're going to talk about that a bit more. So similar for the right hand, it's a black version of the same hold, smaller. So they're good, but they're totally flat, no in-cut at all. And then he's got a really good stack of volumes at the bottom here that he's going to jump off. So it's quite a stable position, but you can see that it's really directional. So the way that this hold is placed, like with the angle like this, you can see that as soon as you go right of this line, this side, because there's no in-cut on it at all, you're just going to lose that hand. So there's no chance that you can hang on to it. As soon as you move right past it, then you lose a lot of control. So that's why they've chosen that hold. We'll move on now to have a look at this catch hold here. This is the key to making this move work. So there's a few things it's worth looking at here. Let's try and get a good freeze frame. Let's go on a little bit further so we've got a better view. Okay, so you can see that this again, this catch hold, the big yellow thing on this volume, again it's from this Candice range, and you can see in that actually that Max is like losing the left hand, totally straight fingers. So that hold is probably 20 degrees in cut, I would say, but a totally flat surface. So that makes it really directional. So they've put this hold on at a real angle. So again, you can see it's placed at a real angle. It's not flat at this angle, which means that you need to be to the right of that hold to get any purchase out of it. It's like a side pull basically, which means you have to stay to the right of it. So if we go back a little bit, you can see here how far Max's body is to the right of where his hands are. Like his legs are like a meter further right, and he's been forced to jump a long way, really dynamically and really far right, to be able to weight that hand. A few of the other goes, so if we like zoom onto Magos's go here, which was a bit less successful, you can kind of see that they're hitting this hold a little bit earlier and the body's still off to the left, so you can see here that Magos is quite directly below it. as he hits the hold, and then it gets kind of wild after that. So back to Max and back to this hold. So the other thing to look at with this hold especially is, so we've looked at the hold type and the orientation, but they've also brought it out on this larger black volume. So this move would work with that hold on a flat face. I've actually set that move with that hold on a flat face. When I say flat face, this wall is overhanging, so this wall is at a guess 15 to 25 degrees overhanging, something like that, but it's quite a flat surface. They've put this yellow watar hold out on this volume because it helps you create the angle a little bit more that you need, but it also brings it out from the wall. And what that does is it gives you room when you're climbing for this wild swing. You see how far Max is swinging? He's like swinging all the way around and coming back in. If you have that on a flat surface, it's really awkward to let yourself flow through that swing. You're like bumping into the wall. So by bringing it out on that volume, it means you've got room for your legs to swing around and kind of continue with this move. So then looking at this next hold, so we said that the climbers could either go left-handed or right-handed to it. The way the swing kind of led you to spin kind of suggested that right hand over was a little bit more comfortable. But you can see that again, what the route setters have done here is, by having this right hold as basically a side pull, it means that the climber can't stop the momentum. But then they've got an opposing side pull for this other hand, which means as soon as you get onto this black hold, then all of a sudden you've got opposition and you've got loads of control and you can stop the swing. So competitors were getting there, they're hitting that black hold, either left hand or right hand, really fast because the swing is so violent. But it's quite a good hold. It looks like it's blocked against the wall a little bit, which makes it trickier to hit, which means more people kind of drop that move, which is what the route setters want in a comp environment. But it really does give the climbers a lot of control. So we just watch Max in half time through that move again. You can see as soon as he hits that hold, you can start pushing on that yellow, swing the foot back on. Now, it'd be really good to look at some alternative methods for that. So Hamish here. Hamish is a taller climber. As a route setter, it's always really hard to take into account different body types. Max and Hamish actually climb together lots, and Max is really pretty short and Hamish is really tall. So it's really interesting to see them climb together when they have often really different methods. So Hamish did do this boulder, I think, with that intended method. He also tried this cheat here, so he tried to go up, missing out that yellow hold and straight to the black hold. So you can see that he makes the distance, but he isn't able to hold that position. So the route setters are going to have thought about just the vertical distance up to this black hold. Hamish is quite tall and it looked like quite a jump for him. So it was hard to reach there initially. It's probably part of the reason also that they blocked that black hold a bit against the wall, makes it much harder to jump to from far away and hold probably one-handed because it's so far you can't get both hands there. So that's like the obvious cheat for this move, is missing out that first section where you go really far one way and have to come back to the other. Okay, popping back to Max for this final move. Once he's got the zone, in this position you've got two hands on the zone, quite a good hold, I think, right foot on the really good foot, so you're really comfortable here. And they've got this big sloping Rock City volume on the left. A few climbers did do this top bit different ways. This was the intended beater for sure. So palm on that sloping volume. It's quite slopey and not that good really, so you couldn't really move totally statically, and you're going up all the way over the top to a jib that's screwed upside down on another one of these watar holds, so it kind of creates like a backhand Gaston thing, like almost cross between, you're kind of crimping it but you're pressing up at the same time. So pressing up into that, you can see that really cool position. For this move we got to think about distances, so the distance between the hand that he's reaching to and this foot here is going to be really important. Make that too far and it's going to be really hard for the short climbers. The other thing we really need to focus on is this hand here. So they've chosen a hand which is sloping enough that people can't just go totally static, but still good enough that you can palm. If that was a little bit more slopey, you might not be able to push down because it is quite a steep wall there. So just play that through. You can see Max gets that hold, and he manages to then, you got to move your feet around onto that volume, and then the match isn't too bad. Really cool boulder, really well set, no one cheated it. People did a few different variations of the move, but no one cheated it, and it created really good separation between the competitors. A few people flashed it, like Max, quite a few people had quite a few goes and then ended up doing it. Thank you for watching this week's boulder breakdown. If you enjoyed this, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified whenever we post new content. We got lots of exciting ideas at the moment about new route setting content that we're going to be putting out, so watch this space for more stuff coming soon. If you enjoyed that video, then take a look at this one here or this one here, and we'll see you next week. Come in, boy. Come in, boy. Is this Morpheus? Say hello, Morpheus. And then Neo somewhere too.